Jessica from Athens, Ohio with us today. Hi Jessica, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you for asking. So we'll start kind of at the beginning of your life, your childhood. Can you describe it for me? Did you grow up with both of your parents, siblings, that kind of thing?
Okay. I did grow up with both of my parents, and I do have one younger brother. He's 3 years younger than me. We lived kind of out in the country. My mom worked a lot. My mom was also an alcoholic. And I say now, now that I've been through this whole thing, I say like she loved as best she could. She never found recovery. Both my parents are deceased now. And it took me a long time to realize that she didn't do the things that she did on purpose or intentional. It was just she was, doing the best she could with the tools that she had. I didn't have a horrible childhood by any means. I just didn't have the best relationship with my mom. It was kind of off and on. I do remember it was so much easier for her to connect with Eric, my brother. Or at least I felt as though it was that way. And I do remember just this intense feeling of like, why does she not love me like she loves my brother? And again, looking back, I think what helped too was when my mom died of congestive heart failure. It was very slow, it was agonizing. And I was in my active addiction at that time. But one of the last times I saw her, I know now that she was trying to like make amends and, and she said, I'm sorry for all the things that happened between us. I'm sorry for, not doing what I should have done. And she wasn't specific about anything, but I felt later, I felt good about it. I felt good. Like at least I got the recognition of she understood that she wasn't able to give me that like emotional connection.
Right. Some kind of closure at least.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your addiction. So when was the first time? Do you remember how it made you feel?
Mm-hmm. So the very first time I remember feeling like, oh, okay, I was about 13 or 14, around there. And I was experiencing cramps, like menstrual cramps. Mm-hmm. And I went downstairs and I said, Mom, like I'm feeling so bad. And I remember her getting a bottle down later. Of course, I found out it was Vicodin. I remember her giving me this one pill, and I remember going upstairs and listening to music, and I remember feeling good. And I remember feeling like, oh man, I'm gonna tell my mom that they still hurt, even though they didn't. And I remember, and so to see if she'll give me some more. So that was the first time that I remember taking something or doing anything and like, oh, I love this feeling. I want to do more of it to feel even better. But I also look back with the help of therapists. I've looked back and also realized that was probably the first time that I was taught to, if you don't want to feel what you're feeling, do something to fix it, mm-hmm. instead of letting yourself feel whatever.
Right. So that was the first time you felt that way. So let's talk about high school.
Okay.
And the progression. Was it getting worse in high school?
So probably my freshman, sophomore year, it was just weed. I believe because of my childhood and seeing my mom the way that I would see her blackout drunk and things like that. I never really liked drinking. I didn't like the uncontrollable aspect of it. After high school, it became, the Adderall was the biggest thing. Honestly, the Adderall was a game changer in a bad way, of course. Not in the beginning, I never felt more of a complete human being than I did when I took Adderall. I felt like I was smarter. I felt like I was just in all aspects of existence better. And so that's what started my own I mean, and even that took a long time. So I started taking Adderall when I was a freshman in college. And so I went 3 years in school taking Adderall the entire time. And I would dabble in Coke or any sort of speed, like Coke and meth and things like that. And then it just kind of course, I ended up dropping out of school, and then it was just a long period of ups and downs. It took a long time. So I progressed from the ADHD medication to meth, and then once I did that, it was over. I don't want to say over. Obviously, it's not over, but
it escalated to unmanageability.
Absolutely. Yeah.
For someone that's never experienced the mental obsession and how strong it can be, can you describe it for me?
Yeah. I think that it starts out, like I said, so we'll go back to the Adderall. It starts out in the core of your being feeling like that you are the absolute best version of yourself when you have X amount, like X whatever, whether it's Adderall, meth, heroin, whatever. So you obviously always want to be that. So that's where it starts. And then it goes into, well, now your body is so used to it that if you don't feel it, or if you don't have it, you feel horrible. You can't get out of bed. Your mind's really, really fuzzy. You feel kind of like you're underwater. It's horrible. So then that's when the obsession starts with, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel like crap if I don't have it. And then you don't just want to feel normal. You want to feel that best version of yourself that you felt at the beginning. So you're constantly having to do more and more and more, and which takes up more and more of your time and your thoughts and your energy and everything. And especially with Coke, heroin, and meth, those are the three main that it completely changes the chemistry in your brain. So everybody has a stop, what they call in recovery, they call a stop-go system in your brain. Something that tells you to stop eating when you're full, something that tells you when you're overexerting to stop running, things like that. What Coke and meth and heroin all do is shrinks the part of your brain that tells you to stop, and it dramatically enlarges your go system, they call it. So that is literally all you think about. And the stop part of your brain is also the part of your brain that helps you evaluate situations, the consequences of your actions, what's going to happen if you rob your grandma, or if you break into a store, or there is no thoughts about anything other than doing. It's survival mode is what is the best way to describe it. And anyone will do whatever it takes to survive. Anyone. And you have turned on the part of your brain that it's like flight or fight, right? Mm-hmm. The only part of your brain that's working is fight to feel better.
Wow. That was very informative, but very, very interesting and very true too. So thank you. And
I think that's why people say, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I think that's why people say, I would have never done that if I was sober. Right. Like for me personally, and in the rooms and everything else, I've heard so many people say, like, I can't believe I did. Like, once you get sober and you get past that, you cannot believe the things that you've done. Like, it's just, it's an unrecognizable person because you're not that person.
Exactly.
That is your brain telling you need this, that, or the other to survive.
Right. It's very interesting. So how old are you now?
I am 42.
And what did you lose in active addiction?
Well, I have an associate's degree in chemistry that was going to be more than that, but like I said, I dropped out of school, so I've lost the ability. I did work many years ago, a long time ago. I worked in the pharmaceutical manufacturing industry. I can't ever do that again. I lost I've lost houses, I've lost cars, I've lost everything that you can possibly imagine, and not just once. I've lost it multiple times. Every time I hit rock bottom, I thought, oh my gosh, that's terrible. This is rock bottom. And then I would go back out and it would be my rock bottom would be way lower. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, that was terrible. I can't, like, this is the worst it could possibly ever get. And then I'd go back out and I'd be like, oh, I proved myself wrong there. So this last time, I really do think, like, there's no way I could. And I think that the only other rock bottom is in a grave. I don't think that it could have gotten any lower than that. And so for me, coming here was the right time. I'm getting old. Like, I don't think that I had it. It takes a lot of energy to continue getting and using and selling and whatever else. The addiction life takes a lot of work.
So what was your you said you had a lot of rock bottoms, but
Yeah.
what was your moment of clarity this last time? So you are over 3 years sober.
Yeah,
right?
almost 4 years. Yeah.
Almost 4 years. Okay. So what was your kind of moment of clarity this time? You said, getting older, maybe getting wiser, but what was it that really kind of took that to the next level?
So I was staying with a boyfriend in an abandoned house every night. We were walking to a soup kitchen every day to eat something. And it was bad. And one day I got up and I couldn't walk. Like I couldn't breathe. Like I was coughing and it hurt and I just didn't know what was going on. So we went to the emergency room. To make a long story short, the emergency room told me that I had a blood clot in each lung. And they could tell, it was very obvious that I got it from shooting up. So they were keeping an eye on me anyway. They couldn't find a vein. All I could think about as soon as they put that IV in my foot was, because I hadn't been, I don't know if it's too graphic, but I hadn't been able to really do anything because I couldn't find a vein. Like, it was bad. And as soon as they put that IV in my foot, all I could think about was them leaving the room so that I could put something in the IV. So, but they were very careful. They were like, they probably knew, looking back, they probably knew not to leave the room. So it took forever. And of course I had heart monitors on and I had crazy high blood pressure. And so I had heart monitors on, a blood pressure cuff, all this. And the second that she left the room, I did that, not realizing that I had a blood pressure cuff on, heart monitor. So immediately, as soon as, it's meth. So as soon as I did that, like beep, 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 shh, 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 red lights flashing, everything. And everybody comes running in the room and I'm like, and they knew, like, obviously they knew. So the doctor, gave me 2 shots of heparin, the blood thinner they were talking about, and said, see ya, you're too much of a risk, get out. And it was snowing. My sober date's March 27th. So, and this was about 2 days before that. And I hurt so bad. Like, I was coughing and coughing up like blood, and it hurt so bad. So I could barely make it back to the abandoned house. And that night I really thought I was going to die because I could not stop coughing. I couldn't breathe. I realized then that I couldn't walk anywhere because I couldn't physically do anything. So I have an aunt, like I said, this was in March. At Thanksgiving, she had found me and said, look, I live in Athens. I know of a rehab you can go to, and I know this women's recovery place that's just opening up. Whenever you want help, call me. So that night when I was in the abandoned house, all I kept thinking about was, maybe I'll call Aunt Carla. No. And then throughout the night, I just realized, like, I'm going to die here, and then nobody's going to even find me because it's an abandoned house. And I just was like, I don't want to die. So the next day, I walked outside, and the first person that I even saw outside, the first human being I saw, I said, please, can I use your own? You can dial the number, because of course I looked horrible. I said, you can dial the number. I just really, and I I still had her phone number, and I called her, and that was it.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So how does it feel now to have gone through something like that, near death experience, no doubt, but just to have gone through something so traumatic and then coming out almost 4 years sober? How do you feel now?
I feel great. I feel like I can't believe it. I mean, I can, but I there are moments where I just want to tell everybody that it's possible. An old therapist used to say, you know, until you build a life that is worth losing, it's very hard to stay sober. And I think now that I have a house, I have my kids back, I have a car, I have a good job. There's never a time where I'm like, you know, it's worth it, you know. But it's so easy in the beginning you don't have anything, and you still have that doubt that it's even possible, you know. And you're so focused on the forever word. Oh my gosh, I can't do it forever. Sometimes I just look back and like, wow, first I can't believe it's been 4 years, and I can't believe I've accomplished so much.
You talked briefly about your kids, but let's go into that a little bit more deeper. How's your relationship with them today?
I had to win back their trust, all three of them.
For sure.
And that's been a journey. And I think, so my daughter came to live with me December 2019. And when she first came to live with me, I saw like a journal thing, and I was like, oh, what's that? And I opened the front cover, and I guess it was like kind of like a journal type diary thing. And it was that day's date. And it said, well, I guess I'm going to live with my mom now. I don't even really know her. And I was like, oh. And I could have felt sorry, you know. I remember talking to some of the women at Serenity Grove, and they are so good with like letting me see things from a different angle, because of course I wanted to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this hurt me.
Yeah. It's
not about me,
right.
You know. And now I have the opportunity, and now for the first time in my life, I have a 100% honest relationship with everyone. I have nothing to hide, nothing. It's a good sort of vulnerability.
Yeah. So what have you learned from your addiction?
I read somewhere that the opposite of addiction is connection. And like looking back, that is so true. And I think it's so easy to get lost. And then once you feel lost, you don't feel connected to anything, not even to yourself. So it's real easy to destroy your concept of life in general. When you don't even feel the person that you used to be anymore, it's real easy to destroy that person.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, yeah.
Good answer. And do you have any words of hope that you would like to share with someone trying to get sober?
To give yourself, a lot of people have this preconceived notion of either rehab or a sober living house, or like they want to do it on their own. And I know for myself, I needed time. I was so mentally, emotionally, and physically just absolutely broken that I needed time. And even then I remember going to the rehab and thinking, well, I should only be here 30 days. No. Like, not even in 30 days, your brain hasn't even fully started healing. So give yourself time to sit in rehab, to listen, to absorb. Give yourself time. And then when you get out of rehab, you don't have to rush back to life. Just, you're not going to get the things that you absolutely want, but you're going to get the things that you need. And when I went to Serenity Grove, I had nothing. I didn't even have a driver's license, no birth certificate, I had nothing. And I remember throughout my journey, I remember thinking like, man, my mind feels sharper. My mind feels sharper. Like I feel healthier. I feel better. Like this is it. I'm better. And then a couple months would go by and I would think, oh, okay, like I feel even better. So maybe I'm still healing. Like, wow, okay. And it's continued to be that way. It's a little bit slower now because it's after, you know, the first year or so. But I still feel like that. And I don't think that I would have made it this far if I would have went into, like, just tried to hurry everything, went into a 2 week, 30-day rehab, and then got out and got right back to my old, you know, apartment or old job or old, you know, whatever. Giving myself time.
Yeah. I think that's a very common mistake for people, is to rush and want everything right away, everything back right away. I've seen it myself.
Yeah.
So I really love that you shared that. So thank you so much, Jessica, for coming out and supporting On the Road to Recovery. Your story is amazing. It truly, truly is. And, you know, you shed light on the fact that no matter how far down you get, there is hope and there is a way out, and you are living proof of that. So thank you so much.
Thank you.